All right. I appreciate you guys jumping on today. I'm gonna go to my presentation. Um, this I put this together pretty quickly. Just a few nights ago. This was not a webinar that I was really planning on doing until really night before last, when I was watching the news and I was having a conversation with a couple of small business owners that I'm friends with who are not in real estate. And then I started having conversations with some of the real estate connections that I have both locally and around the country. And this just this hit me really hard. I kind of went in to some deep thinking and some meditating on some of the things that are happening in the climate right now around the globe in our country. Most of us are on some level of lockdown, even if it's self-imposed, and agents are scared. Small business owners are scared. Now, what I want everyone that's on this call to recognize is uh, for the most part, I'm going to be talking to the agents and the brokers and the team leaders that are on the call. But these action steps are extremely relevant no matter who you are and what industry you're in. If you're a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, a small business owner, a service-based business owner, a salesperson, a realtor, an insurance agent, the list could go on and on. Just because some of the analogies and stories I'm going to use today are real estate based, because that's my background, does not mean that they only apply to the realtors on the call. These are going to actively apply to any of us that are noticing some sort of a change in our market. Now, there are some markets that are actually up right now, some industries that are actually up. If you're in sort of a janitorial or a cleaning or an emergency service, then your business could really be going up right now, and you're probably not even on this call. I had to call a home warranty in on my personal house about a week ago because my garbage disposal went out, and it took a week to get the plumber to come out and fix the garbage disposal. And so I was kind of griping at him just a little bit, mainly asking a question to decide how much I needed to gripe at him, because a week without garbage disposal is pretty bad in this day and age. So he just told me, he said that in a time like this, everybody's home, and so for his type of business, they actually go up a lot when people are home. So whether it's a virus that's keeping people home, whether it's the holidays that are keeping people home, that's when his business spikes. Now, for the majority of us that are going to be on this call, our business is either the same or it's dropping. Okay, it's either the same or dropping. I pulled some numbers in our local market just this morning to see what was happening in our local real estate market. And what I noticed is buyer activity actually had stayed exactly the same. Listing activity went way down. We're about 20 to 25% down so far from this time last week, which was 10% less than this time the week before. Then when I compared those numbers to the year before, listings were down even more. So listings are down, but buyer activity seems to be staying stable. So I don't know where you guys are listening from, but let me, even if you're from Raleigh and you have a contradicting opinion to mine, let me throw a poll up and find out what you guys are seeing in your local market. I'm going to leave this up for a couple of minutes. Does your market seem to be slowing? Does your business seem to be slowing? Does it seem to be staying the same? Or is it actually getting stronger? Are you getting more business? And if you're getting more, it's probably because of things that are going on. Even in down markets, there's some types of businesses that thrive. So how's it doing? Is it getting stronger? Is it staying the same? Or is it slowing? All right, so far it looks like we have a few people that are saying it's slowing down a little bit. The majority so far, 50%, 75% say it's staying the same. Some people are experiencing it getting stronger. So what's that doing for your business right now? And I don't have a poll for this, so don't answer. My question, rhetorical question to you guys is, do you think that it's going to continue to get stronger, worse, or stay the same? Um, it's a good question. And ultimately, we don't know what's going to happen. We just don't know. So as I get into the 8 steps, as I get into it, let me go ahead and expand this screen here a little bit. Looks like I've got the votes I'm going to need. So 50% say that that it seems to be staying the same. 25% say that it's slowing. 25% of you say that it seems like it's getting stronger. So I'm going to go ahead and end this poll for now. And I'll share the results with you guys later, but I'll probably just relaunch that toward the end. All right. So let me go into a couple of disclaimers before we really dive into this. Number one, we don't know how much this virus and these lockdowns and these quarantines and all the restaurants and small businesses sending people home, we don't know how much it's going to affect the real estate market. And again, guys, if you are on this call and you're not in real estate, stay with this, because the action steps are going to be relevant to you as well. So we don't know how much it's going to affect the real estate market. It might be a lot, might be a little bit, might be nothing at all. It might send the real estate market values up. If listings continue to stay down, buyer activity continues to stay strong, that could actually increase market values around the country. I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm not telling you guys what is going to happen. We don't know how many people are going to get sick or pass away. We don't know. I've seen projections that put this at affecting almost half of the country, with over 1 million people passing away. I've seen projections that say 2 million. I've seen projections that say 4,000 or 5,000. I don't know, and we don't know, and we should probably not speculate publicly about what is going to happen unless we're sharing solutions and good news with our people as well. We don't know if jobs are going to be lost. We don't know if small businesses are going to go under. I can tell you that some of that is going to happen. So we are going to nationwide experience a contraction in our economy. How much is what we don't know. So what we do know, we know that lives are going to be disrupted, and there's going to be a lot of uncertainty about the future. The people that we interact with and that our client base and our customer bases are going to have a whole lot of uncertainty. And I can tell you that one of the core human needs is certainty. Now, another one of the core human needs is uncertainty as well. So some people love uncertainty. Others, in the vast majority of the population, they want certainty. And so anytime they're uncertain about the future, fear tends to crop up. So what we need to do is become a voice of hope to our personal audience, to the people that listen to us, whether we know them and interact with them one-on-one or not. If they can hear our voice, see our videos, see our message, we need to be a voice of hope for those people. When markets change, and this is where we're going to spend the majority of our time today. When markets change, wealth and market share are dramatically redistributed, okay? Dramatically. Back in 2009, my real estate market in Virginia went through the crash. Somewhere around the second quarter of 2009 is when it really took a nosedive. Now, we were a year or two behind the majority of the country. It had been strong up to that point, and then it dove. And when it went down by more than 50%. Values, people were losing crazy amounts of value, tons of foreclosures. I went into that market with very little business. I went in, 2008 was a good year for most real estate agents in that area. And I went into that being just an average agent selling between 6 and 10 houses a year, which is across the country is just average. Okay. I came out on the other end of that accidentally figuring some things out. And by the time the market started to recover a few years later, my business partner and I were selling well over 200 homes a year. And the reason that that had happened for us is because we discovered a few things on accident. We got lucky. We did some things right. We had a couple of things that worked really, really well. We had a few things that didn't work, but we dropped those. Ultimately, we started to shift and adjust our businesses. And when you go into a crash selling 8 houses a year and you come out of a crash selling 200 houses a year, obviously you figured a few things out. And that's what I want to share with you guys. This stuff has not been relevant until now. Many of the things that I used to do to get business haven't worked the past several years because we've been in a really good economy, a really good housing market, and those things quit working then. So I want to show you, who knows how long this is going to last. If it's a couple of months, you've got a couple of months for these things to work. If it's a couple of years, you have a few years for these things to work. Ultimately, my goal for you is for you to come out of this time where there's contraction with a lot more market share and a lot more business that you can carry with you through the rest of your careers. All right, so let's dive into the 8 steps that we need to be focused on. Forgive me, I dropped a phone. The 8 steps that we need to take if we're going to gain market share and expand our business through this time. Okay, and the first step is to think. A lot of agents, and I know a ton of agents, that they get in their car, they pop a podcast in or listen to music. They go home, they go to work, they turn the TV on, they do all these different things to preoccupy themselves and their mind, and they don't take time to shut anything off and think. So Glenn Sanford said the most important job of a CEO is to think. So the greatest ideas come out of thinking. You guys can probably see in the bottom right corner of this slideshow that my coaching company name is the Agent DNA. Less than a year ago, almost a year ago, but less than a year ago, I was sitting in a coffee shop and I heard someone mention something about DNA, and it hit me like a lightning bolt. And I said that the name, the Agent DNA, hit me. And I went home and I locked myself in a room for 3 days and I built this entire outline for my coaching system out. I already had that stuff going through my brain. It just wasn't consolidated. It didn't make sense to me yet. And because I took those 3 days to think and lock myself in a room and build it out and strategize, I have what is now a coaching business called the Agent DNA. So you need to take time to think during this time. You can't go about your normal daily life and those normal daily routines that take the thinking out of your day. So you're going to brainstorm new ideas. You're going to strategize new systems, and you are going to plan for mid-course adjustments, because just because you come up with a new idea or a new system and you've thought about something good, when you put it into practice, you're going to notice that sometimes they don't work. I've had plenty of those things that I've thought about. They've been brilliant ideas. 3-4 weeks later, I realized that my brilliant idea was really dumb. And if I was not prepared to adjust mid-course, then I wouldn't have stayed ahead of the curve. So that's what we're doing here. There's going to be a lot of opportunity that comes up. And when I say a lot of opportunity, there's going to be a ton of opportunity to gain market share and gain market knowledge and establish brand credibility during this time. But it all starts with thinking. So the second step that we want and need to take in our business is we need to implement our new strategies. So this piggybacks onto thinking. We want to think about new strategies. Then we need to implement these new strategies. This can be short term. As I mentioned, back in 2009 through about 2012, the strategy that I had to get business, to gain market share, worked really well. That strategy did not work in a market like I've been in the past 5 or 6 years. It just didn't work. So this new strategy does not need, I don't want you to bank on this strategy being long term, but it's going to work with this market contraction. So implement a new strategy. Right? Strategy is about making choices and trade-offs. It is about deliberately choosing to be different. The majority of us that are on this call have some sort of a connection, or we gravitate around real estate, the real estate industry. And if you gravitate around the real estate industry, or you're in the real estate business, you are probably a commodity. There are 1.3 million real estate, actually realtors, well over 2.5 million real estate agents, 1.3 million realtors in the country. That, to me, is the definition of a commodity. But that doesn't mean that you individually and your individual business has to be a commodity. So the way that you're going to do that is you're going to deliberately choose to be different. And so we're going to do that by thinking and adjusting our USP. Okay? If you don't know what a USP is, a USP, it stands for unique selling proposition. So what message do you put out to your audience, to your community, that is different than everybody else? And I want you to go deep with this. I ask a lot of agents what their USP is, and most of the time they'll say something like, my USP is to be honest and ethical. And that sounds really good until you realize that there's, out of the 1.3 million agents, 1.2 of them say the same thing. So now your selling proposition is not unique. All you have is a SP, not a USP. So think about the specific USP that you can have and build it out, something that is unique. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to adjust your expectations. Your expectations over the next couple of months probably can't be business as usual, probably won't be results and ROI like as you usually have. So you're going to make adjustments for those expectations, and you're going to plan for a little bit longer term ROI. So we're going to go into a time where our goal is market share versus immediate ROI. And then last, we're going to adjust our technique, the technique that you use. The message that you put out, the marketing that you put out, the words that you say, what it used to lead to with your clients, it might not lead to that during this time. So you're going to at least be willing to adjust those techniques as you start to see feedback on whether the same pitch works now like it did a few weeks ago or a few months ago. There are a lot of people that go on listing appointments. And in your listing appointments, you might be used to going in and saying, here, sign this paperwork right now. And people saying, okay, can we start showings tomorrow? That might not happen for you for a little bit. So adjust the technique and the strategy that you use to be able to continue to get business and build your audience and build your also pipeline of new business that you should be getting coming out of this cycle. Okay, I am gathering my thoughts here really quickly because this is probably the most important thing that I can convey to you. Put it as step 3. It really should be step 1, step 2, step 3, step 1 through 8. Communicate. This is by far the most vital thing that you can be doing, especially with your audience. But really, you need to be communicating with your team, your partners, your vendors, people that you work closely with and rely on, and they rely on you. They need communication. Most of all, you have to communicate with your audience. And by communicate, I don't only mean picking the phone up and calling or sending an email. I don't only mean that. There should be mass communications. It's hard if you have a big sphere of influence or a big Facebook following or or a lot of people that watch your YouTube videos or whatever that is. It's hard to communicate with all of them one-on-one. So what I mean by communicating is you need to intentionally, with purpose, take time to think about clear, hopeful, and accurate messages that should go to your team, your partners, and your audience daily. We talked about strategy a couple of slides ago, and this is one of the strategies that might not work long term. It's really hard to put a daily message out long term. Very difficult because daily messages, especially when you're talking to multiple different audiences with multiple different messages, takes time. But at minimum, during this time where you're probably at home a lot more, your audience is probably at home a lot more. I need you to think and strategize about your message, and I need you to put a daily message out to everybody that you know, anyone that can see that. It can be on social media. You could be putting it on YouTube or Vimeo. It definitely needs to be going to your email lists. And I know that every now and then you're going to run into someone that says, "I'm tired of your stuff. Unsubscribe." I get unsubscribes. That's okay. That rare person is probably not a great fit for your future business anyway. We want the people that are going to appreciate and value your daily communication. By daily communication, this does not need to strictly be look at me, look at me, look at me. It doesn't need to be I'm selling houses. It should be very much focused on them and telling them action steps that they can take. It should be focused on people that are going to be selling, people that are going to be investing, people that are going to be buying. It should be focused on your business community and your partners. But above all else, make sure that this message goes out on a daily basis. You are going to see me doing this a lot. Those of you who I'm connected with or follow me, you probably are not used to seeing me put daily emails and social media content out. I err on the side of doing much less of that. But this communication, when done daily, is going to single-handedly gain you the most market share coming out of an economic crunch like this. So communicate daily. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to focus on our marketing. And this ties a little bit with communicating daily. One of my favorite quotes is, for a business not to advertise is like winking at a girl in the dark. You know what you're doing, but no one else does. So for business to not advertise is like winking at a girl in the dark. You know what you're doing, but no one else does. And that's so true. You might be the best business person in the world, and you might be the best real estate agent in the world. But if you don't advertise and you don't market and you don't gain mind share and awareness, you might as well just be the best person in the dark because no one's going to know what value you can bring to their life. So market share is going to be shifting a lot. You're going to have agents that go into a crunch like this, that go home and they feel sorry for themselves, and they go into a shift like this. And maybe last year they sold 40 houses, and they're going to come out of it this year selling 15. And it's going to be due to the lack of activity that they take during this time. There are going to be other agents that go into this shift, and they go home, and they might be a little concerned about what the market's going to do, but they take the time to communicate daily. They take the time to think. They take the time to strategize and market. And they're going to go in with 15 deals a year, and they're going to come out on the other end with 40 or 50 deals a year. You're going to have team leaders that go in with 50 sales a year going into this shift, and they're going to come out with 150 a year. They're going to carry that momentum for a long time because they're focused on marketing, they're focused on their communication, their systems, and their thinking. So it's going to take massive effort to build out your marketing system. It's going to take massive and focused effort. But when you do this, it's going to be automated, going to set these things up and they're going to be able to run for a long, long time, generating a predictable amount of increased business and market share. So take the time, especially if you're kind of locked at home a little bit, your clients aren't out as much, take the time to focus on your systems, your marketing and your systems, and automate anything possible. Now, this is also important, and this is something that personally I forget all the time. Majority of these 8 steps are things that I know about and I used to do, and because life and work got busy, I put these on the back burner. And so if you're following me and some of these things you don't really know how to do, watch a few of the things that I begin to do over these next several weeks and copy those. Hopefully you don't have to do that. Hopefully you kind of know how to do these things, but it's okay to copy others. We're going to focus on our social proof. So social proof is that other person that's bragging for you. Social proof is the wingman that you take to the bar with you when you were in your 20s and you wanted to go pick up girls. Okay, so social proof is that other person that's doing the bragging on you. I do a lot of face-to-face social networking in large groups. I host several events in the area. Those are completely squashed for the time being, but let me tell you what I've learned in those. I see people come to those, business owners come to those all the time, and you go up and you introduce yourself and they shake your hand and tell you their name, and then they say, I'm in insurance, or I'm in real estate, or I'm in mortgages or life insurance, or whatever it is, and they immediately start bragging about all the things that they can give you. That turns me off instantly, and it turns the majority of your audience off instantly as well. So you are going to shift that brag of what you do over to someone else, someone who's a sphere of influence or a past client or a family member, someone, you're going to shift that bragging over to them. Those of you who coach with me or come to my classes, forewarning, I'm going to start asking you guys more for reviews and testimonials, whether that's written or video. I've done a really bad job of doing that, but I'm going to swallow the pill that I'm giving you here and start to do more of that, because those reviews and testimonials are going to carry a lot of your future business. So take the time now to do that. Another thing is your content that you're putting out should really be shareable. Should be the type of value that that other people say, wow, that's really good. I want to share that with my audience. So now all of a sudden their audience is becoming yours. So your content, while branding is good, and branding is saying, look at this client that I just helped buy a house, or look at this client that I helped here, I'm out showing houses again. That has a very short shelf life. So we're going to focus on incorporating more content that truly offers value that other people can share out and give to others. A great example is what we're doing today. So after tomorrow's webinar, I'm going to go through this one more time tomorrow. I'm going to put this on YouTube. I'm going to put this on social media. I'm going to email this out. And the goal is for it to get shared, because I'm offering some value beyond just saying, hey, coach with me, coach with me, coach with me. This should be valuable content that's shareable. So if you're going to ask people for reviews, testimonials, you're going to ask people to share your content, different things like that, it really needs to start with you. I have a good friend of mine who is one of my most loyal referral partners. And this individual brags about me all the time, to the point of it being very uncomfortable for me. I have a little bit of a hang up with people bragging about me, especially if I'm standing there. But this person brags about me all the time, and it all started because when we first met, he was doing some events and doing some things, and I shared a lot of his content, and I bragged about him. And now I can't shut this guy up. I remember about a month or two after me promoting this person's business, he came to me and said, you know, I don't think I haven't noticed you promoting my business. I'm going to start to promote yours. That's not what I was doing it for. I was doing it because I truly value the business that he had, and thought it was good to promote it. But that got recognition from this person, and now I can't get the person to stop bragging about me. So it's going to start with you. If you're looking to get reviews and testimonials, maybe offer those for other people. If you want someone to like your business page, maybe offer to do the same thing for that person. So the ultimate point of this is to focus on your social proof. Give this some effort, some energy. All right, next is we're going to cut our unnecessary expenses and energy. Most of us are in a place where we probably are wasting some time, energy, and money on certain things that we've just been kind of holding on to with hopes that it'll pan out. Okay. This could be CRMs, this could be lead generation, this could be phone systems. So I don't know what it is for you, but the majority of us have something, if not some things, that we're using that we're just not really getting everything out of it. And this is the time to go ahead and cut that. Not because it won't work, but because we're going to focus our energy on the things that do work, and we're going to cut the things that don't for the time being. You can always come back to that lead generation or that system or that resource that you just haven't been utilizing. You can come back to it later, but not when we've got a contraction, and not when you need to focus on these other things. Okay. Minimize. Last point I'm going to make on this is you should be minimizing anything that is not audience facing right now. Notice I didn't say cut. There are certain things that will still work for you. If it's just not working for you, cut it. But if it's still working for you, but it's not audience facing and it's not helping you gain mind share and brand awareness and market share, you're going to minimize those things and really double down on the things that are audience facing. All right. Now, the second to last thing that we want to do is we want to understand our market cycles. I'm going to talk to those of you who are not in the real estate business first. Okay. Spring, summer, fall, and winter. Okay. Springtime is when 80 plus, 90 plus % of the business fields out there are growing. Summertime is when you kind of cut that percentage down a little bit. It's still very healthy. 75% of the industries out there are growing and seeing expansion. The others are kind of getting a little stagnant. Maybe they're not growing. Fall time in business is where you benefit from the growth of the spring and the summer, but growth is really starting to decline for the majority of businesses that are out there. And we go through these economic cycles every 7 to 10 years where we will see all 4 of these seasons in an economic cycle. Just because we are in winter, which we're moving to, doesn't mean it's winter for every single business. It just means that economic cycle means winter for the bulk of the businesses. So winter time, if you're in business, is a time for you to rest, adjust, and prepare for growth of the summer. All right. Now, in real estate, nationally, and especially here in my local market, we have been in a really long spring, a really, really multiple year spring. So these, as I mentioned, all 4 of these will generally cycle through once every 7 to 10 years. In the Triangle, North Carolina market, the greater Raleigh area, and most markets around the country, we've been experiencing some unprecedented real estate growth for 5, 7, probably 7 years here. So we should naturally be in a fall season in our real estate market. And a lot of you may be in the same thing. I know there were some folks from Chicago jumping on this. If you guys are on the call, you guys might be more of like a late summer just naturally. But what is currently happening is we're about to skip a season or two. We're Most of us are probably about to go into a winter season. And in the winter, you don't do the things that you do in business in the spring. You're going to rest your resources, you're going to make adjustments, and you're going to prepare for growth that comes in the spring. So if we're skipping a cyclical economic fall season, we need to immediately start to rest, adjust, and prepare for our future growth. And we do that by following the previous 7 steps. Right. Going a little bit longer than I did yesterday. I feel pretty good about this. Yesterday was my first time through this particular presentation. I told most of you that I was going to take about an hour, and I'm not. I want to tell you guys 2 more things. I'm going to tell you step number 8. But before I tell you step number 8, you need to understand that it's going to seem comical, and it is, but there's some really amazing truth to it. And it's probably one of the things that's going to either gain or lose people the most business over this time, besides communication, their lack of. But step number 8 is please don't be an idiot. Don't be an idiot. I've seen so many idiots on social media these past couple of weeks that are in business, and I guarantee they're losing massive amounts of their audience who are just saying this guy or this girl is a complete moron. Let's tune them out. So don't be an idiot. You're going to talk to the majority with your messages. You're going to talk to the majority of your people. If you grew your business and you make a living by being polarizing, that's okay. But the majority of us don't make a living by being polarizing. We don't make a living by touting conspiracy theories. And so if all of a sudden you come out and you start promoting conspiracy theories, or you start saying things like, you know what, I'm living life as usual, I'll go cough and sneeze on anyone I want. I literally saw an agent say that on Facebook the other day, and he wasn't joking. I guarantee he lost a lot of respect and a lot of business with that comment. So don't be an idiot. Think about what you post. Think about what you're saying. Make sure that it's uplifting and positive, and that it's actually helping people. Okay. So those are the 8 steps. I am not going to take a whole lot of time with this, but I do want to let you guys know very briefly a couple of things that you should be doing right now, and then also how I may be able to help you do those things. So first thing that you're going to do is you are going to go and you're going to create a new 90-day and 1-year plan. New 90-day and 1-year plan. For those of you that don't have a business plan that's based on 90 days in a year, you need one. For those of you that had one that was relevant for you on January 1st, it's probably not relevant for you right now. You need a new 90-day plan of actions that you can do to grow your pipeline when we get out of this. And you need a new 1-year plan to account for all that new business that you're going to have when we're through this winter cycle. If you need help with that, this is one of the, really the only one-on-one free coaching session that I offer people. I offer a lot of free group coaching and training. This is the only one-on-one session that I offer for free. I never charge for this. I take people and I'll go through that 90-day plan with them and that 1-year plan and actually create a strategy to grow your business. Okay, so if you want that, please get with me. Send me a message, an email, comment on a Facebook post or something like that. Let me know. Next thing, we went over 8 things. I'm going to throw a poll up here really quick. We went over eight things that you needed to be doing in your business. Trying to incorporate all 8 of these is going to be difficult. You need to take 1 at a time or 2 at a time. So identify 1 or 2 things that you haven't been doing that you're going to start doing today. And the poll question that's up right now is, What part of your business needs the most focus now, starting right now? So I just threw it up. I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to answer that while I tell you step 3 and also tell you how I might be able to help. Okay. So step 3, we're going to go back all the way back to the step 3 in the slides. Communicate. If you were only to pick one thing, you need daily communication with your audience right now. If you're only going to pick one thing, so start communicating with your audience daily. Now, to wrap up, I want to basically just let you guys know a couple of ways that I can help you. I can help you with free content, free coaching tips and ideas. All you need to do to get those is go over to the Facebook group, The Agent DNA. The Agent DNA. It's a private Facebook group for people that are involved, either paid or unpaid, in my coaching programs. You could always go like my business page, Bruce Hill Coach. I got to be honest. That's one of the pages that's going to be getting a lot more attention from me. It's been on the back burner, but this time of year I need messaging to get out, and so that's going to get a lot more attention, a lot more coaching tips. Third is I do monthly free coaching session on the Agent DNA. We basically break down one of the elements of your Agent DNA every single month. And then we have some one-on-one coaching opportunities. It's really important for most people to have a coach. Not everyone. Some people are not a good fit for a particular coach, and then other people, truthfully, are uncoachable. So sometimes it might be the coach that is the bad fit for you, or maybe you're uncoachable. But most of us are coachable. We need a coach. So I'm going to encourage you to at least get that coaching plan, that business plan done with me. And if you decide that you want more, we can talk about that. So hopefully you guys have a really good day. I hope this was beneficial for you. I appreciate all of you. I'm going to leave this poll up for another second. The rest of you that are on this call, I'm missing a lot of voters. So go in here and let me know what part of your business needs the most focus now. But we are going to wrap up. I'm going to close this slideshow out. I'm going to click over, see what questions we had, because